Alright, people, what's up, Nitro Nation? Let's get this. I usually don't do, well, I haven't done a wrenching video in a while. You know, we've opened up some engines and certain things, but I wanted to, first of all, I want to take a closer look at this, pico. We have the pico what is that? B1.21. Okay. Got another Adam Drake signature there. Plus we got his autograph on the card. I guess the guy had him, you know, because he motor bathed this. So this thing had a motor bath. I hope you guys can see this okay. But anyway, I wanted to take a closer look at this engine. And I'm also going to, because I had a few people ask me about this, and I kind of wanted to show you how easy it is. I mean, you could either, you know, you could wrench, you know, like a Neanderthal or like a caveman, I always say, you know, and this, something like this, you know, which I still use, will get you by. Or, you know, you can invest the money and, you know, get something like this, you know, Protex and Huddies and MIPs. And yeah, they're not cheap. You know, I still can't justify paying $15 to $18 for one driver, even though it's the snap-on of, you know, tools as far as, you know, in RC. These are the snap-on, okay, of tools. These Protex, though, I really like these Protex. I highly recommend them. These are the Protex Ultralights. They got the swiveling deal on the end. One of the sharpest, I mean, you guys can probably see that. One of the sharpest tips I've ever seen. You know, and I'm comparing them to, you know, MIPs and Huddies. You know, and these, I heard you can get them, MIPs, you can get them resharpened. They're like 45 minutes from where I live, MIP. But anyway, the more, I don't know how to say this, but the tighter you are, the more of a tight ass you are, you know, or, you know, because some people, you know, will spend, I've seen people spend $100 and $150 or more on certain things, yet you're missing, I mean, tools are one of the most important things. This is going to lessen the headaches. Remember, this video is a little bit of it for newbies and a little bit for advanced people. Because obviously, if you're a new person and you're less than a year in Nitro, I don't recommend you taking apart your engine. I don't recommend you running a modded engine. You know, it took me almost 3 years before I got my first modded engine. I mean, I've only been doing modified engines for maybe 3 years. Around that. Took me a while. If that. Barely 3 years. You know. So, you know, certain people tried to push me towards them, but, you know, I wasn't that I wasn't ready, but it was just, I wanted to experience the whole stock, you know, 21, stock, you know, 28, stock 32, stock different engines, you know, even factory modded engines and so forth, like this, you know, that has, you know, the crank already fill, it has a crank fill in it already, you know, you know, slugs in it, you know, it has the balancing slugs in here, you know, so, but anyway, this is the Reds tool, okay, this thing runs about less than $100. You can get the Huddy one, I think it's $20 more or something like that. I highly recommend the Reds. I like it, it's very easy to use. I had to go over and look at the instructions numerous times before, you know, I can actually do it, know how to use it by heart. This tells you how to pull it. Pretty good. I mean, the instructions are, you know, self-explanatory. They're basic, paint by numbers. This is how you, you know, because it has a puller and an installer, so you got both. Okay, this is what it looks like. I try to take care of my stuff and keep it in good shape. I'm going to have to clean the box a little bit. I got grease on it. But anyway, so we're going to start with this. We're going to get right to it. Before we do, though, before I pull, I'm going to pull because I don't have, so this is the Reds R5R RCR modded. And it's a nasty little engine. It's still pretty new. I haven't ran a lot through it. You guys have seen, you know, the internals of it. I've showed it already on video if you want. I mean, look at the piston. This thing is brand new still. Doesn't even have any carbon. Well, a little bit, but barely. But it's a badass little engine. But I want to put ceramics in it. People ask, why do you put ceramics? What's the whole point of ceramics? Well, ceramics is a few things that it does. It obviously, your crank is, you know, what is riding, your crank, this right here, is riding on the bearings. So, by running ceramic bearings, it makes it smoother, easier on the wear and tear of your crank. It's obviously more efficient, rotating mass. You know, these are all things that I've learned in the last few years. Now, does it make it go faster? Is it going to increase? Not to where you're really going to notice it. It's more for the longevity. The same thing with the DLC coated crank. This doesn't make it faster. This doesn't make it. This is just so. Again, everything that it's connected to, which means the connecting rod, you know, the bearings that are on here. It's just everything will last longer. Again, rotating mass. Also, when you put in ceramic bearings, they're lighter, obviously, because they're ceramic and they're not steel. Yeah, your tune will probably be a little bit more precise. It'll idle a little bit better. But the whole benefits of the ceramic and the DLC coated crank is just longevity and overall life and wear and tear on your engine. Okay, Mario Rossi, I heard him say one time in an interview, he said that one of the primary things when he was alive that he always liked to keep an eye on, or he even did himself in the factory, the Rossi factory, was to inspect the bearings, check the bearings. He wouldn't let an engine go by unless it passed his inspection. Now, I don't know what his inspection, how he checked it, rolled it, I don't know what, but he always inspected. He said the most vital and the most important part about any nitro engine is the bearings. Because everything rides off the bearings. The crank is obviously riding on the bearings. And then you got the connecting rod, and then the piston, and then, and everything comes from riding on the bearings. So if your bearings are shit, your bearings suck, and they go out, you're going to have issues. You're going to have connecting rods go, and I've had that happen. You're going to have wear and tear on your sleeve, wear and tear on everything. So instead of me waiting for bearings to slowly wear out, I'm just automatically replacing them with ceramics. Again, it's not to make it faster, it's just less headaches. Okay, yes, it can be expensive. Now Lance carries, front and rear bearings for around $60, and he uses the best. I believe the company he uses are OEM. They're Swiss made. Even the bearings that come in, the Tritons, these are Swiss bearings. Okay, I have the bearings coming for this because this doesn't have ceramics in it. I want to put ceramics in it. Like I said again, just so I don't have to hassle it later. Now, do you have to? No, you don't. It's up to you. Do you have to use expensive tools like MIPs and all? Do you have to buy? No, you don't have to do any of this stuff. You can get by other things. But I will tell you, and I'll be just brutally honest with you, you're going to have more freaking headaches. You're going to get more stressed out. You're going to spend more time wrenching by not investing, in those important things. The bearing thing, it's not the most important, but it's a lot quicker. It's a lot easier. I don't want to damage, even a $200 engine, let alone a $400 or $500 engine, by putting, using Mickey Mouse tools. I've got away with using the dowel and heating it up and all that, but you don't need to. You know what I'm saying? Use whatever works for you. Okay. But like I said, it's just less headaches. Less headaches by using better tools. Less stuff's going to strip out. You don't want to, like I said, I love this engine puller, man. It just makes it so much easier. And eventually, you're going to have to change bearings. Just like everything. They don't let them last forever. You're eventually even ceramics. I've got a Reds R5R, the RB modded one, Team Edition. It's got over, 10 gallons through it, and it has ceramic bearings in it. And they even feel a little bit, they don't feel like they were when they were brand new. So that's another engine I got to get to. I'm going to replace the ceramic bearings, replace the connecting rod, and do a major overhaul on that engine. It's got a lot of gallons through it. I'm surprised with all the gallons that I've ran through it, and I beat it up pretty good, that it's, the connecting rod, if you guys seen it on my one video, it's real sloppy. So anyway, I'm going to show you how to use this Reds and how quick it is and how much easy it is. It's like some people say, easy peasy Japanesey, man. I love this tool. It's well worth the 90 bucks or whatever that I spent on it. Very well made by Reds, but I'll show you that in a second. So this is the Pico. Now looking at the head, like I said, the head is in a mint condition. You can see it. It's got some scuffs on the top, but I mean, for what I paid for it, it's a nice cooling head. It's milled out. Here's the button head from the Pico. Nothing spectacular. Here's the back plate. Looks like a coated back plate. I don't know if it's DLC coating, but it's definitely a coated back plate. And nothing spectacular. Here's the sleeve. Now looking at this, is a bone stock Pico V1 Team Edition. Okay, I paid, and I'm not afraid to put out numbers, I paid $200 for it delivered with this sexy looking Pico pipe here and header. This is about 100 bucks right here. 2046. I have another Pico. I don't know if I have it with me here. No, I don't. But I have another. I cut out the other Pico I have. So that's my second Pico pipe. We'll have to check that pipe out. But anyway, if you're looking at the sleeve, there's really not anything really big done to this thing. So you can tell, and like you said, the sleeve is 25% or if that of the modification when they do mods, and the performance. So there's a lot of room, because this is obviously going to go to Lance at RCR. So there's a lot of room for him to open this up. So I know, and it's pretty thick, pretty beefy. It's got some meat on it, which I like. It's not like some sleeves where they're kind of thin. So yeah, I mean, you look at it, there isn't anything. I mean, I don't even think there's no fangs on this thing. So, not that like I said, fangs isn't all, but there's a lot of work to be done on this thing. So that's that. Piston, he has a little bit of carbon buildup. Like I said, this thing is brand new. By looking at it, you can tell. He said it has a half gallon. We'll just, say it's got a gallon. Nothing special. Connecting rod, it's nice, and I even checked it on the crank. It's pretty tight, no slop. This is the big thing, obviously, for a lot of people. And like I said, it's not a huge performance unless there's timing done to it, where you could see there's a little bit of timing done in here. Crank fill, obviously. If you look around, look here, here, a little bit right there where my fingernail is. And then obviously, I believe these are brass, I'm not sure. Some companies use tungsten, but they're to balance the crank. So, I mean, you could see these little, I call them crank ports. These little pieces right here, these little deals here. So I mean, it's not even, and I asked Lance about this engine, he said, he goes, this was the engine that they came out with instead of his, when they found they had tons of old Pico blocks laying around. So this is an old design. It's not anything real new. It's probably like 4 or 5 years old. But it's brand new, pretty much. The guy had Adam Drake break it in. You can see there's the ceramic bearings, front and rear. So we've got this thing marinated in Aerocrol, people. What you guys know about it? You know anything about this? Anybody know anything about this? Aerocrol? Kano Aerocrol, man. This shit's like 25 bucks a can. Shout out to Gearhead Attic. He sent me some. He's actually going to send me some more. Shout out to him. Shout out to the Norms, Nitro Mike, you know, doing his thing. Freaking guys gets a solid race clip, and he's like a kid in the candy store now. And you know, I feel for the guy, man. He lives in a freaking, I don't know if it's a third world country, but he lives in, you know, a foreign country, and they don't, you know, they have a lot of rules and regulations. They don't get shit. So an OS engine that was given to him for free. He's got a LRP 32. He's got a Pico boost. You know, he's got an LRP 30. He's got some decent engines. He still is yet to own, like I told him. He still needs, the missing link is an Italian 28 engine. He doesn't have any Italian 28s, man. He's got an Alpha 28, but that don't count. Because you don't know where Alphas are made. If you don't, go do your homework. They're made in Taiwan. So anyway, that's it. You know, nothing big. It's, you know, nice engine. Like I said, what I paid for it, I can't complain, you know. And I got some of this, you know, big old giant bottle of the After Run by Rick Brake, RB Mods specialty right here. Got that. It's got a, what is that, a 7 Venturi on it. That's okay for now. I'd rather run a 7.5, but yeah, I guess a 7's okay. I'm going to get it, as soon as it gets modded, we're going to be throwing this baby on here. At least it came with an 8. That's cool. My red's here. Now, we're going to take the bearings out of this. Okay, so, obviously I've removed the, you know, everything. Be careful when you're removing the main thing is, before you pull off your back plate, make sure that your piston is top dead center, and the skirt, which is this piece here, is out of the way. So make sure when it's up that the skirt right here is up out of the way. Especially certain engines, you know, when you go to pull the back plate off, this engine's not like that, but some of them will have a little slot in there. If you catch that, bye-bye, good night, done like dinner, bye-bye engine. Well, not engine, but you know, it's, you're gonna have to replace your piston. So anyway, we're gonna pull this out. So instructions are pretty easy. This goes in here like this. Then what you do is you make sure that this is turned all the way to the right, holding this. Then all you do is you tighten this down. You guys can see that. Tighten this down on the back. And then you just turn this the opposite way, counterclockwise. Oh, didn't catch it. Do that again. Oh yeah, that's what I forgot. Now, once I put it in there, first you got, come on, Muggy, get with it. So I've only done this a handful of times. Now you take this, and you turn it counterclockwise until it stops. What that does is that opens up the little, the little prongs on the end of it. So see, it's in there now. Then, after you do that, then you screw this down all the way. This nut here. Screw it down all the way. And then turn this counterclockwise. And then you just pull the bearing out. There you go. I don't think you need to do it all the way loose. Just till it's not all the way off. But see how it catches the bearing? Now, I was like, how in the hell do you get this off? Oh shit. Now that's when you take the inside here and you go the opposite way. I mean, you go clockwise. And that closes those prongs in the end. And so basically I'm resetting this again all the way. Okay, tighten that up. Bearing comes off. There you go. See it? So there's that bearing. Now, that's to pull the bearing out. So I'm not going to need that anymore. That's just to pull it out. Because, oh, and in this case, try not to push either one of these tools down too far, because then it's a pain in the ass to get out. I keep them kind of up on the top so I can pull it out. Now this is the installer. Okay, now this, you unscrew this piece here. Okay. Oh, what you guys know about Motley Crue? I don't know nothing about Motley Crue, you youngsters out there. Okay, you take this off. Well, actually, this is on, I'm sorry, for when you push the bearing out, the front bearing. So, that collet stays on. You push this in here. Put that. Now, facing this way is so the bearing can come out. This is when you put the bearing in. So, this is to take the bearing out. Put it that way. Okay. Tighten this up. Now, this video might be tied into another running video, so you guys might see this video till later this week. Okay, so now to pull it out, all you do is, hear that? Bam, that's the bearing popping out. You might want to use gloves because sometimes it's, these things here hurt my fingers. But now I turn it like that and I can feel the bearings out all the way. See, there's the bearing. So then you just loosen this up. Take your front bearing out, okay? Now, what you do is you take this out. When you're installing the bearings, okay, this has to come out. Now, what's cool about this is you can put the front and the rear on at the same time. So, basically I'll set this here like this for a second, like that. Actually, I'll just put this part. No, that doesn't go in there, I'm sorry. Take this. This is going to go in here, right? So that slides in there. Put this in. Like so. Oops. Might want to put the bearing on a little bit easier, like that. Put this part through here, like this. Okay. Push that in. Now, you take this part and put it like that. Screw this back in. Now this is where I put gloves on because I want to tighten it down really good. And these little chingaderas here hurt my fingers, man. So I'm going to throw on the wrenching gloves. These also come in handy when you're heating up shit, so you don't burn your hands. But anyway, so now this is all lined up, and now you just start cranking it. So what this is going to do is this is going to push the front bearing in, and this side is going to pull the back bearing in. So you're putting both of them in at the same time. Crank it until you can't crank it no more. Don't be shy, people. Just grab it and just crank that sucker.
You get unlimited skips to pass on the songs you don't want to hear.
Tighten it really good. Like I said, if you don't put gloves on or something, these shits right here hurt your hands. So, okay, that's pretty tight. I think we should be in all the way. And then, loosen it up. Put some huevos behind that. In Spanish, huevos means balls. Put some balls between that, people. Okay? Okay. And all you do, unscrew this. Man, I love that smell of aerocross. That smells like candy. That, bam. So there's your front bearing in. Pull this out. Your rear bearing's in. So there we go. Front and rear ceramic bearings easily installed. Compliments of, Reds. Put this back on like this. Put this back in here like that. And all else fails, read the instructions. I had to a few times. So, highly recommend this tool. If you want to do the wood dowel and you want to heat it up and all that, and hillbilly style and, you know, caveman, Neanderthal bearing installing, then go ahead. But if you're going to be, and this is only recommended for people that are going to want to change bearings, that are going to want to maintain their engines, and that are going to want to upkeep them. You know, sometimes if something happens or you get dirt inside of there, you're going to have to pull your bearings out. You can't just leave the bearings in there and spray brake clear all in there. I don't recommend it. You can do what you want. If you get any kind of dirt, and it will happen one of these times, sucked in here, or somehow your air filter, and I've had that happen. My whatchamacallit did that. The last time we ran my Pico, I had to rip it all apart because I got dirt in there. So you got to take the bearings out. If you don't have a bearing puller, you know, I mean, do what you want. This is just a lot easier, man. This is well worth it. If you guys need a part number, there it is. Pause. Bam. Okay, so that's it. You've seen the Pico. We're going to be running that soon. I'm only going to run a few tanks through it, and then that thing's going to get modded, because I can already guarantee you that this thing, even if it's badass stock, is not going to do much for me. So, this barely does anything for me, and this is modified R5R Reds. You know, Lance did a killer job on this. So, I mean, and I've got, man, if anybody needs extra Reds, regular front and steel bearings, or if you need some extra Nova bearings front and rear, I already sent a set to Nick Fowler. Go check him out. You know, Nice Works, NIS Works, or Nice Works. Yeah, I think that's his channel, Nice Works. But yeah, so I've got another set of ceramics here. I'm going to put ceramics in the LRP 28. I got to throw some ceramics in the Elite 5. And I got to throw ceramics in the other LRP 32. Because one of them, I have two modded. That one that I just showed you has ceramics, but the other one doesn't. And I got to install that crank. I got a lot of engine work to do, man. I'm glad I have this, man, because if not, doing the wood dowel thing and popping them out and popping them, heating them up and all that bullshit, hell no. You know, like I said, if you want to do that, that's fine. This is well worth 90 bucks. Now, I don't know how hard they are to get, because last time I checked at A-Main, they're out of stock. And make sure you get the one that's 14 millimeter. There's a 12 millimeter one. That one's not going to work. You need the 14 millimeter. Okay? So, it'll work on it'll work on any bearing. But if you get the smaller one, it's not going to work, because the problem is on the puller part, the colic is a different size on those ones. So, but anyway, that's pretty much it, people. I can't wait to run. We got clutches going on. A couple of my favorite clutches right here. Check it out. I love the Techno clutch. Love the Reds clutch. Only one I'm ordering, an Overossi clutch. And I found one, so they're hard to find because they don't make them anymore. And a couple pairs of clutch shoes. Because I believe the Overossi clutches have a certain clutch shoe that works with it. Unless there's other universal ones, I'm not sure yet. But anyway, that's pretty much it. I mean, you can sit there and compare these. That's a Reds against a Pico. Looks pretty similar to me. Somewhat. Reds, Pico. Alright, people. And we are not done with this baby. We're going to run this baby again, too. So, ready to rock and roll. And LRP 32. So I'm going to, next time, the running video, we're going to run the Triton one more time again. Well, we're going to run it plenty of times, but we're going to run it again, like I did just recently. And then, in the same day, hopefully, if everything goes right, we're going to rock the Mugen Chuggy. And we're going to put this, and we're going to rock it with the LRP, RCR modded LRP 32. Okay, this thing is going to be doing this. What? Alright, people. That's all I got. Just thought I'd share that with you. You know, I've had people ask about this Reds bearing puller. Highly recommend it. Huddy ones, you know, I hear good things about it too, but I don't own one. They're a little bit more. You know, for the price, for under 100 bucks, this is worth it. But yeah, so can't wait to run this Pico. I got another engine. I actually got 2 more engines coming, and I'm still searching for another whip. I was going to pull the trigger on a certain whip, but just wasn't what I wanted. He didn't want to work a deal with me, and you know, this is my thing. If I do buy a used whip, it's got to be in mint condition at a good price, and it's got to have tons of goodies, especially if it's something that, you know, they don't make anymore, or it's hard to get. You always want to make sure you have extra spare parts, because that's most of your money. Alright, people, that's all I got. I want to also try this pipe. That does look very, very close to the Triton. This is the Triton 2148. This is the Pico 2046. Okay. Alright, people. Well, that's all I got. I got to get going. I got a lot of wrenching to do. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.